I stood there staring at the dark wooden urn sitting on the mantel above the fireplace. It was polished mahogany, smooth and shiny, like something you would see in a fancy catalog. I still could not wrap my head around the fact that my wife, Linda, was inside it. 42 years of marriage, and that was what it came down to. A container on a shelf in our Boston townhouse. The late afternoon sun came through the front windows and hit the little brass nameplate on the urn. Her name caught the light, bright and sharp. I had to turn my head away. It hurt too much to look at it for long. That was when my phone buzzed in my hand. It was my grandson. "Hey, Gramps. How are you holding up?" I almost smiled. Tyler was 26, sharp as a tack, worked in finance downtown. Always dressed nice, always talking fast. Linda adored him, said he was going places. "I am managing, son," I told him, "taking it one day at a time." "That is good. That is good," he said quickly. "Listen, I wanted to run something by you. Olivia and I were talking, about how lonely that big house must feel now that Grandma is gone." Olivia, his girlfriend of 8 months. I had met her twice. Pretty girl. Worked in marketing or public relations, something like that. She was always looking at her phone, thumbs flying across the screen. "It is quiet," I admitted. "Right? So we were thinking, what if we moved in for a while? Keep you company. Help out around the place. You should not be by yourself right now." I rubbed my eyes with my thumb and forefinger. The United States Navy had trained me to spot strategy, to recognize when somebody was maneuvering. But grief makes a man softer than he should be. "That is thoughtful, Tyler. But I am all right. Really. Gramps, come on. We insist. And our lease is up next month anyway. Rent in Boston is out of control. This would help us too. Everybody wins." That should have been my first warning sign. I felt it in my gut, but I pushed it aside. "Well," I said slowly, "I suppose I could use the company." "Perfect. We will come Sunday. Love you, Gramps." He hung up before I could answer. Linda would have seen straight through that conversation. She always understood people better than I did. But she was gone, and I was standing alone in the living room talking to a wooden urn. They showed up Sunday morning with a moving truck. Not a small one either. It was a 16-foot truck. Seemed like a lot for 2 young people who were only planning to stay for a while. "Gramps," Tyler shouted as he jogged up the steps, smiling wide, full of energy. Olivia came up behind him, designer purse hanging from her shoulder. She barely looked at me. "Hey, babe," she said into her phone. "Yes, we are here. The place is huge. I will call you back." Not a word to me until she finished her call. We unloaded box after box. A 70-inch television. A gaming setup that looked like it belonged in an electronics store display. Speakers. Fancy chairs. Tables. More furniture than I thought possible. "Tyler," I said, trying to keep my voice even. "I thought you said this would be temporary." "It is," he answered quickly. "This is just stuff from our apartment. No point paying for storage when we are staying here, right?" Another warning sign. I ignored that one too. They chose the guest room. That had been Linda's craft room. Her sewing table was still there, fabric folded neatly, her knitting basket by the window. I had not been able to sort through it yet. I watched Tyler set heavy boxes right on top of her sewing machine. "Easy with that," I said. "Those were your grandmother's things. Do not worry, Gramps. We will respect all of it," he said, patting my shoulder like I was the child. Olivia had already started moving chairs around in the living room without asking. The first week went smooth enough. They were gone most of the day. Tyler at his office. Olivia doing whatever work she did. I will admit, I liked the quiet. Then the money talk started. "Hey, Gramps," Tyler said one evening, leaning against the kitchen counter. "Can you lend me $200? I forgot to move money into my checking account before it hit zero." I wrote him a check. He was my grandson. A few days later it was, "Gramps, our car insurance is due, and we are a little short this month. Just $500. I will pay you back when I get my bonus." I wrote another check. Then it was, "Olivia's mom is sick down in Florida. We need to fly out there. Tickets are about $1,200. It is kind of an emergency." That one made me pause. I sat at my desk and logged into my bank account. Linda and I had done well enough. My Navy pension, her teacher's retirement, the investments we built slowly over decades. We were not rich, but we were secure. Still, watching the numbers go down unsettled me. "Tyler," I said carefully, "this is the 3rd time this month." "I know," he said fast. "Work has been slow, but my year-end bonus is coming. I swear I will pay you back everything." You have my word. He had Linda's eyes. Same shade of brown. Same look when he wanted something. That is what got me. 2 months later, I hardly recognized my own living room. Their huge television sat where ours used to be. Their couch shoved mine against the wall. Linda's antique side table, the one her grandmother brought over from Ireland, was gone. I found it in the hallway closet. We needed more room for the sectional, Olivia told me when I asked. Your stuff is kind of outdated. No offense. That table has been in our family for over 100 years, I said. It is safe in the closet, she replied. We are not throwing it away or anything. That was not just one warning sign. That was a whole string of them. But I kept quiet. On the morning of December 15th, I woke up feeling wrong. Not exactly sick. Just heavy. Off balance inside my own chest. I had experienced episodes before. Angina, the doctors called it. Usually stress-related. It would pass with rest and medication. This time it did not pass. By noon, I was on the bathroom floor. My chest felt like it was wrapped in steel bands. My left arm had gone numb. I crawled enough to grab my phone. 911. Emergency services. What is your emergency? I could barely get the words out. The paramedics arrived in under 10 minutes. Calm, steady, professional. They moved around me like a well-drilled unit. As they strapped me onto the stretcher, I noticed Tyler's bedroom door was shut. I had heard both of them moving around upstairs earlier that morning. Should we notify family? One of the paramedics asked. My grandson upstairs, I managed. She went up and knocked. Once, twice, 3 times. Finally the door opened. Tyler stood there in basketball shorts, hair messy, blinking like he had just woken up. Your grandfather is having a medical emergency, the paramedic told him. We are taking him to Massachusetts General Hospital. Oh, okay. He looked at me lying on that stretcher. Feel better, Gramps, he said. Then he shut the door. The paramedic looked at me with an expression that said more than words ever could. At the hospital, they admitted me to the cardiac care unit. Ran tests. Adjusted medications. Hooked me up to monitors that beeped all night long. The cardiologist, Dr. Reynolds, looked worn out but honest. Mr. Bennett, she said, you had an acute coronary event. Not a full heart attack, but close. We are keeping you at least 3 days, possibly longer. She glanced at her chart. Do you live alone? My grandson and his girlfriend are staying with me. She nodded and wrote something down. Good. You will need help when you get home. No stress. No heavy lifting. No excitement. Doctor's orders. That first evening, I called Tyler. Straight to voicemail. I left a message. Called again at 8 o'clock. Voicemail again. I sent a text message. I am at Massachusetts General. I am stable. Call me when you can. Nothing. Day 2, still nothing. I tried the house phone. It rang and rang. Day 3, I felt stronger physically, but something else was bothering me. A deep unease. Linda's voice echoed in my mind like she was standing right beside me. James, something is not right. That afternoon, my phone finally rang. Tyler. Hey, Gramps. Sorry I have been missing. Work has been crazy. I have been in the hospital for 3 days, I said quietly. I know. The paramedic mentioned it. How are you feeling? How was I feeling? I had almost died. I am still here, I answered. Well, that is great news, he said. Actually, I am calling because Olivia and I are throwing a small engagement party this Saturday. We got engaged last night. Surprise. That was the first word out of Tyler's mouth after he told me. For a second, I honestly thought I had heard him wrong. You are engaged? I asked. Yeah, he said, sounding proud of himself. You are excited, right? Anyway, we are having a party at the house on Saturday. About 40 people. Olivia is organizing most of it, but we could use your help Friday setting things up. Moving tables, rearranging furniture, that kind of thing. Think you can get discharged by then? My chest tightened, but not from angina. This was something deeper. Tyler, the doctor told me no stress and no heavy lifting. I am supposed to rest. Come on, Gramps, he said. It is just a few hours. We will handle the heavy stuff. You can just supervise. I do not think you understand, I told him slowly. I almost had a heart attack. Look, he cut in, irritation creeping into his voice. This is important to us. To me. Olivia's parents are flying in. I want everything perfect. It would mean a lot if you helped. I shut my eyes and counted to 5. Tyler, I cannot. I am sorry. I physically cannot help you set up a party right now. There was silence. Then his tone changed. Colder. Harder. Seriously? You cannot help with your own grandson's engagement party? It is not about wanting to, I said. It is about what my heart can handle. You know what? Forget it. Stay in the hospital if it is that important to you. We will handle it ourselves. We always do. Tyler. And do not bother coming home until you are ready to actually act like part of this family again. The call ended. I stared at the screen. Called him back. Straight to voicemail. I sent a message. No answer. About 20 minutes later, Dr. Reynolds came into my room because my monitors were screaming. Mr. Bennett, your blood pressure just spiked. You were stable. What happened? I could not explain it. How do you tell a doctor that your own grandson just told you not to come home? They kept me 2 extra days. Every time I replayed that call in my mind, my chest would clamp down like a vice. The nurses stopped asking if my family was coming by. On the 7th day, Dr. Reynolds discharged me with strict instructions. Rest. Take your medication exactly as prescribed. Follow up in 2 weeks. And avoid stress. She looked at me carefully. Do you have someone picking you up? I will take a cab, I said. She did not like that answer, but she let it go. The cab pulled up to my townhouse at 3 in the afternoon. I sat there for a moment before getting out, just looking at it. Something felt off. The curtains in the front window were different. Dark, heavy blackout curtains. I walked up the steps and slid my key into the lock. It would not turn. I tried again. Nothing. They had changed the lock. I stood there holding my own key, staring at the door I had painted myself 3 summers ago. The same door Linda and I had walked through every week with groceries for 20 years. I rang the bell. Footsteps. The door cracked open about 6 inches, chain still latched. Olivia's face appeared. Oh, you are back. I live here, I said. The lock is changed. Yeah, we changed it for security. There was a break-in scare last week. Hold on. She shut the door in my face. I heard them arguing inside. Finally, the door opened all the way. Tyler stood there in a suit I had never seen before. Hair slicked back. Hey, Gramps. You look good. I stepped past him and stopped. My house did not look like my house. The walls were gray. Cold gray. Linda had picked out a warm beige years ago because she said it felt like home. The family photos that used to line the hallway were gone, replaced by abstract prints I did not recognize. I walked into the living room. My recliner was gone. The chair I had sat in every evening for 15 years. In its place sat a white leather couch. The television was bigger. There was a bar cart in the corner filled with expensive liquor. What did you do? My voice sounded thin. We updated the place, Olivia said behind me. It needed it. Where's my furniture? We donated most of it. It was worn out. I turned to Tyler. You got rid of my things? Gramps, relax. We upgraded everything. It looks better now. I walked upstairs, my legs trembling. My bedroom door was closed. I opened it. It was no longer my bedroom. They had turned it into an office. A desk where my bed used to be. Shelves where Linda's dresser had stood. Our wedding photos were stacked in cardboard boxes in the corner. Where am I supposed to sleep? I asked. The basement, Tyler said from behind me. We fixed it up. It is actually pretty nice. The basement. They had moved me into the basement of my own home. I stepped into the next room. Linda's craft room. Except now it was clearly their bedroom. A king-size bed filled the space. Olivia's makeup covered Linda's sewing table. The quilt Linda had been working on before she passed was gone. Something inside me split open. Where is Linda's quilt? I asked. Olivia shrugged. That old blanket? It is probably in one of the boxes. We needed room. That was the last thing she made. It is safe, she said. We did not throw it away. I looked at Tyler. Really looked at him. He would not meet my eyes. I saw a stranger standing in what used to be his grandmother's room. I want you both out, I said. Tyler actually laughed. Come on, Gramps. You are just emotional. Get out of my house. This is our home too, he shot back. We have been living here for months. Because I allowed you to stay temporarily. Not to take over. Not to erase your grandmother. Olivia stepped forward like she was negotiating a business deal. Mr. Bennett, you are overreacting. We improved the property. We increased its value. You should be grateful. Grateful. After everything we did. Staying with you. Watching the house while you were sick. My left arm started tingling. I forced myself to breathe the way Dr. Reynolds had taught me. In for 4. Out for 6. I am giving you 30 days, I said. Written notice. After that, you are gone. 30 days. Tyler snapped. That is not enough. It is what the law requires. You are kicking out your own grandson? My own grandson told me not to come home while I was in the hospital, I said. My own grandson changed the locks, threw away my belongings, packed up his grandmother's life like it was junk. I looked him straight in the eye. Yes, I am serious. I went downstairs and called a hotel. The Fairmont had a room available. I would stay there, clear my head, figure out what to do next. I reached for my jacket. It was gone, probably donated like everything else. From the top of the stairs, Tyler called down. Fine. If that is how you want it, we will go. But do not expect help from us again. Do not expect a wedding invitation. Do not expect to meet your great-grandchildren. You are choosing to be alone. I looked up at him. No, son, I said quietly. You made that choice when you told me not to come home. I am just accepting it. I walked out the door. The cab driver was still waiting at the curb. I gave him the address to the Fairmont and stared straight ahead as we pulled away. I did not look back. At the hotel, I sat down on the edge of the bed and just stared at the carpet for a minute. The room was quiet. Too quiet. No Linda. No ticking clock from the hallway. No smell of her coffee in the morning. I picked up my phone and called my attorney, David Park. David and I had served together in the United States Navy. We had stayed close for over 40 years. He handled Linda's will when she passed. He was not just my lawyer. He was my friend. James, he answered. Everything all right? No, I said. I need help. I told him everything. The money requests. The redecorating. The locks being changed. The phone call from the hospital. The basement. The quilt. He did not interrupt me once. When I finished, there was a long pause. James, he finally said, calm but serious. This is worse than you think. How so? If they changed the locks without your permission and disposed of your property, that can qualify as conversion. If they forged any documents, and we need to check that immediately, that is fraud. And if they obtain money from you under false pretenses, especially given your age, that can fall under financial exploitation of an elderly person. Massachusetts does not play around with that. I just want them out of my house, I said. We will get them out. But we are going to do this properly. First thing tomorrow, I am filing for an emergency eviction hearing. Right now, I want you to log into every bank account you have. Checking, savings, investment accounts, credit cards, everything. Can you access them online? I opened my laptop with shaking hands and signed into my bank. At first, I just scrolled. Then my stomach dropped. David, I said slowly, there are charges here I did not make. Keep going. Screenshot everything. Document it. $5,000 at a furniture store. $8,000 at an electronics retailer. $3,000 at a jewelry store. $2,000 at a restaurant I had never heard of. Clothing boutiques. Home improvement centers. Specialty shops. When I added it up, it was over $47,000 in 3 months. James, are you still there? They have been using my credit cards, I said. I never gave them permission. That is identity theft, he said flatly. We are calling the police right now. Stay on the line. I am bringing in Detective Alvarez from the fraud division. The next hour passed in a blur. Police report filed. Credit cards frozen. Fraud alerts placed with the bank. David preparing emergency filings. We will push for an emergency hearing on Monday, he told me. In the meantime, the police will conduct a welfare check on the house. We need to ensure they are not destroying or transferring more property. I did not sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Linda's quilt stuffed in a trash bag, her sewing table buried under makeup, my recliner sitting under fluorescent lights in some thrift store. Friday morning, David called early. The police completed the welfare check, he said. James, you need to brace yourself. What now? They found documents. What kind of documents? A quitclaim deed. Transferring ownership of your house to Tyler Bennett. Signed with your name. My blood went cold. I never signed anything. I know. That is forgery. The detective is already arranging a handwriting analysis. He paused. There is more. Of course there is. They found communications indicating Tyler has been telling Olivia's parents that the house belongs to him. That you are living there temporarily while you recover financially from your wife's death. That is insane. There was also a partially completed reverse mortgage application in your name. It was not submitted yet, but the intent is clear. He was preparing to extract equity from the property. I leaned back in the hotel chair and covered my face. I expected rage. Instead, I felt tired. deep in my bones. Linda would be heartbroken, I said. Linda would want you to fight, David replied. And that is exactly what we are doing. Monday morning, we were in Suffolk County Superior Court. Judge Margaret Donnelly presided. I sat beside David. Across the aisle sat Tyler and Olivia. They had managed to get a court-appointed attorney at the last minute. Judge Donnelly reviewed everything carefully. The forged quitclaim deed, the unauthorized credit card statements, the bank withdrawals, photographs from the police showing my furniture removed and the locks changed. She looked over her glasses at Tyler. Mr. Bennett, the younger Mr. Bennett, do you dispute these facts? His attorney began to speak, but Tyler interrupted. Your Honor, my grandfather is elderly. After my grandmother passed, he was confused. He asked us to move in. He wanted us to modernize the house. He told us to use his credit cards for household improvements. Do you have written documentation of that agreement? The judge asked. It was verbal. We are family. Judge Donnelly turned to me. Mr. Bennett, is that accurate? I stood. Your Honor, I am 65 years old. I served 23 years in the United States Navy. After retiring, I taught mechanical engineering at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology for 18 years. I am not confused. I am not senile. I permitted my grandson to stay in my home temporarily while he secured housing. I did not authorize him to change my locks, remove my property, forge my signature, or charge nearly $50,000 to my credit cards. Did you give him access to your credit cards? No, Your Honor. He had access to my wallet while I was hospitalized. The majority of these charges occurred while I was in cardiac care. The courtroom went quiet. Judge Donnelly looked back at Tyler. You charged approximately $47,000 while your grandfather was hospitalized. What he would have wanted is not for you to decide while he was incapacitated, she said firmly. She reviewed her notes. I am issuing an immediate eviction order. You have 72 hours to vacate the property. I am also issuing a restraining order. You are not to contact Mr. Bennett except through legal counsel. The district attorney's office will review this case for potential criminal charges. She struck the gavel. Olivia began crying. Tyler looked at me, pale. Gramps, please. We can fix this. Mr. Bennett, the judge warned him, do not address the plaintiff. The bailiff escorted them out. As he passed me, Tyler called over his shoulder. You are really going to let them arrest me? I did not answer. David placed a hand on my shoulder. Let us go home, James. Police officers met us at the house later that afternoon. Tyler and Olivia were there, loading boxes into a rental truck under supervision. Another officer was documenting everything they removed. I walked through my home. They had stripped it. The television gone. The furniture gone. Artwork removed, leaving holes in the walls. Kitchen cabinets open and empty. Dishes gone. Small appliances gone. In the basement, I found my belongings stacked in boxes. My furniture scratched and damaged. Linda's quilt was there, wrinkled but intact. Our wedding photographs were there too, frames cracked but salvageable. One of the officers approached me. Mr. Bennett, we found this in their bedroom. You should see it. He handed me a folder. Inside were printed emails. Messages between Tyler and Olivia. They talked about the old man. They discussed timelines. They speculated about when I might finally kick the bucket so they could inherit the house free and clear. I stood there in the middle of my gutted living room, holding proof that my own grandson had been waiting for me to die. And in that moment, something inside me settled. Not anger. Clarity. Inside that folder were more than just emails. There were property assessments showing my house valued at $1.2 million. Copies of my retirement account statements. Printouts of investment summaries. They had somehow gotten access to my financial records. There was even a draft email addressed to an elder care facility. It asked about memory care pricing. It asked about involuntary commitment procedures. They had been researching how to have me declared mentally incompetent. I felt the air leave my lungs. They were not just trying to take my house. They were planning to erase me. The officer standing beside me watched my face carefully. There is enough here for the district attorney, he said. This is elder abuse. Identity theft. Fraud. Attempted theft of property. They are looking at serious charges. I sat down on the basement steps, the folder resting in my lap. Boxes of my old life were stacked around me. My wife died 6 months ago, I said quietly. He was her favorite grandchild. I just did not want the house to feel so empty. The officer, a young man with steady eyes, sat down beside me. My grandfather went through something similar, he said. His own daughter cleaned him out after his wife passed. Some people see grief and think opportunity. That is on them, not on you. 3 days later, the house was empty except for my boxes. Tyler and Olivia were gone. That weekend, I unpacked. I carried my recliner back into its old spot, rehung our family photos, put Linda's side table back where it belonged. I washed her quilt carefully and laid it across the bed. Sunday afternoon, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Detective Alvarez and David. "James," David said gently, "can we come in?" We sat in the living room. My furniture was back where it belonged. It felt like home again, but quieter. Detective Alvarez opened a file. Tyler Bennett was arrested this morning. He is being charged with identity theft, forgery, grand larceny, and financial exploitation of an elderly person. Olivia Ramirez is being charged as an accessory. Their bail hearing is tomorrow. "What happens now?" I asked. "They will likely take plea agreements," he said. "No prior record. Probably probation, restitution, community service. But they will have felony records. In finance, that matters. His employer already terminated him." I thought I would feel victorious. Instead, I just felt tired. "There is something else," David said carefully. He opened a folder of his own. Linda's will included a bequest to Tyler. $50,000. It was scheduled to be distributed on his 30th birthday. I let out a slow breath. He knew, David confirmed. The emails reference it. They were trying to secure the house now because they believed that money was coming anyway. Greed. They saw me as an obstacle between them and what they believed was theirs. I looked at Linda's photo on the mantle. She had loved that boy so much, bragged about him to her friends, sent him handwritten cards for every holiday. What would Linda want me to do? I asked. David thought for a moment. Linda was kind, he said, but she was also fierce when someone she loved was threatened. She would want you protected, and she would want Tyler to learn a real lesson. 2 weeks later, the plea agreements were finalized. Tyler pleaded guilty to reduced charges of identity theft and fraud. He was sentenced to 3 years of probation, 500 hours of community service, mandatory financial counseling, and ordered to pay full restitution of $47,000, plus damages and legal fees. Olivia accepted a similar agreement. The $50,000 bequest from Linda's will was revoked by court order and redirected to a local veterans shelter in her name. I did not attend the sentencing. David represented me, but Tyler sent a letter through his attorney. I almost threw it away unopened. Almost. I stood in my kitchen and read it while my coffee went cold. "Gramps, I know I messed up. I was greedy. I let Olivia convince me that you had more than enough and would not miss it. I told myself you would have wanted to help us, that we deserved it. I know that is not true. I know I hurt you worse than anyone ever has except losing Grandma. I cannot undo what I did. I am in therapy now. Court ordered, but I am actually going. I am trying to understand why I felt entitled to your money. Why I treated you like a machine instead of a person." The therapist asked what I would say to Grandma if I could. I would tell her I am ashamed. I would tell her I am sorry. I would tell her I am going to try to become the man she believed I was. I do not expect forgiveness. I just needed you to know I understand what I did. It was not enough. It could never be enough. But it was something. I sat down at the kitchen table and wrote back. 1 page. Handwritten. "Tyler, your grandmother used to say that people show you who they are when they believe no one is watching. When I was at my weakest, you showed me who you were. That person was not the grandson I thought I knew. The Tyler I loved was kind and honest. Maybe he is still somewhere inside you. I hope therapy helps you find him. I hope you become better. Not for me, but for yourself. Family is not a license to exploit. Love is not permission to steal. Blood does not entitle you to anything except the same respect you offer in return. You took my money. You took my home. You tried to take my dignity. The only thing you could not take was the love your grandmother had for you, because that ended when she did. I am not writing to forgive you. I am writing so you understand the weight of what you destroyed. Maybe one day something can be rebuilt, but not now. Maybe not ever. You wanted your inheritance early. Now you have nothing. What you become from here is your choice. You will make that choice without me." I mailed it that afternoon. 3 months later, I sold the Boston townhouse. There were too many memories in those walls. Some beautiful, some painful. I bought a smaller place in Portland, Maine. It has a view of the ocean. I volunteer twice a week at the Naval Museum. It keeps me busy, keeps my mind steady. Linda's quilt is on my bed now. The last thing she made. The last piece of her that greed could not touch. Sometimes I think about calling Tyler. Old habits die hard. He is still my grandson. Still the boy Linda adored. But then I remember standing outside my own house with a key that no longer worked. I remember $47,000 in fraudulent charges. I remember them sleeping in Linda's craft room while I lay in a hospital bed fighting to stay alive. Love without boundaries becomes permission for harm. Kindness without consequence becomes weakness. Linda taught me many things in 42 years. In the end, though, it was my grandson who taught me the hardest lesson. The people we love most are capable of hurting us the deepest. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let someone face the full weight of their choices. I am 65 years old. I have my health. I have my memories. I have my self-respect. Tyler has probation, debt, a criminal record, and hopefully, one day, wisdom. We both ended up with what we earned. And at night, when I lay under Linda's quilt listening to the ocean, I sleep just fine.